Everybody had a good night last night. Are hangover free. I hope you guys are feeling good today. I hope you have a plan for tonight. That's what this topic's going to be about today. I'm hoping we get a good turnout here. Sometimes on the holidays it doesn't always work out that way, but I'm willing to take that risk. That's fine. I've got some free time this morning, and I want to touch base with you guys and chime in if you need to. Let us know where you're at with your sobriety. This is kind of a recap of this past week, Christmas week. Maybe a recap of 2025, and then maybe talk about what we have planned for 2026. So let's get into it. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Josh, living life alcohol free. If you guys are returning, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you to the members and subscribers to my channel. I wouldn't be here without you guys, so thank you. So let's get into it. I posted a video today about FOMO. A lot of us are going to be at parties tonight. Maybe we're staying in. Maybe we're having friends over, having family over. Maybe we're having a little bit of a get together, and there's going to still be alcohol involved, or there's going to be alcohol around wherever we are. Maybe we choose to stay home and be by ourselves because we don't want to get triggered. If you're here, Robert posted this morning on the FOMO video, just going to stay in, doesn't want those triggers. And that's good on you, Robert. That's good. If you guys are thinking about just staying in, not doing anything so you don't risk it, that is worth it. You know what I mean? Because if you put yourself in a situation where there's alcohol around and you're going to be triggered, then it's perfectly, respectable to yourself to just stay home. And you don't even need to worry about it. You know what I mean? And you get through it. You wake up tomorrow hangover free. You start 2026 out perfectly. You started out, and maybe you don't wake up feeling great. Maybe you're sick. Like this week, my wife's sick. She's got the flu, and she's been home from work. And welcome in, Daniel. And maybe you're not 100%. Maybe you're going into 2026 not feeling well, but the best thing we can do for ourselves is get into 2026 alcohol free, and that's what this is about. So last week, Christmas Eve, we had a get together. I had actually like four in a row, but one thing stood out to me. A couple things. One, New Year's Eve at my sister-in-law's house, and I know they know that I'm alcohol free, but in this particular time, and this is my sixth holiday season alcohol free. And so I didn't really talk about it. I haven't really talked about it. There's been occasions where I've brought it up, usually in particular when they start talking about NA drinks. That's usually when I'll bring up my sobriety, or I'll just bring up my experiences with NA drinks. I don't get into much detail. But at the same time, I know my wife has shared with, her sister or brother. And so she pointed out that they had some NA Prosecco. And if I wanted to make like an NA orange juice and like sparkling wine, a mimosa, I could do that. And I said thank you, and I appreciate that, and then we move on. It wasn't that big of a deal. Now, if she had said that maybe like 3 or 4 years ago, I might have thought, well, she knows, and been a little bit like self-conscious or worried. Or maybe if people point that out, like you guys, maybe if someone points that out at a party, it feels like they're singling you out, and maybe you feel like people are going to think negatively of me or think that I had a problem with alcohol or whatever. But at this stage of the game, drinkers and non-drinkers alike know that alcohol is really no good for us. I mean, yeah, it gives us a buzz, it makes us feel good in the moment, makes us feel a little bit more maybe jolly during Christmas time or New Year's time, the holiday season. But for the long term, for the long run, it's expensive. It leaves us feeling dehydrated and leaves us with a hangover. So there's really no benefit to it. And I think a lot of people, especially even in my family, I've noticed a few people have noticed that they just don't want alcohol around, and they've tried NA drinks and they taste the same, if not better, because there's no alcohol in it. And that's a huge plus. That's a huge benefit. Welcome, Avery. And so that stuck out to me was the fact that, you know what, that's awesome. That's cool. I don't consider myself a non-drinker at this point. I just consider myself Josh. I'm not a drinker, a non-drinker, whatever. Like, alcohol is not even a factor for myself. And I did talk about this in maybe a video last year, but there's several things that I noticed when because I don't drink anymore. When I first quit drinking in that first 6 months or a year, that I would try things that I typically would like when I was drinking, and I wasn't sure if the alcohol or what I was eating or drinking with the alcohol was the cause of my problems, like stomach problems, indigestion, whatever. Just, it didn't sit well with you, and it's hard to see that when it's masked with because of the alcohol. So one of the things that I noticed, I had a running list of things that I would eat, and in my first 6 months of sobriety, and I could tell that it was bothersome to me. So I would jot that down, and I would just not eat that stuff. And orange juice was one of them. So yeah, I used to love a mimosa. I used to love a Grand Slam mosa, and that was Grand Marnier, champagne, and orange juice. And that was a that'll get you lit, and that'll get you lit pretty quickly. You have a couple of those with the Grand Marnier in it, and man, was that good. And it gets you wasted. I had to be careful with that stuff because I did like champagne. I was typically a beer drinker, but every now and then, especially New Year's time, Christmas time, I would have a half a bottle to a bottle of champagne mixed with beer, mixed with whatever else we were having, But I had to make sure that I didn't have like more than like two glasses, like a half a bottle of champagne, because if I did, I was feeling it. I would get the headache and really bad the next day. And if I just stuck to the beer and maybe like two glasses of champagne, I was typically okay. Still hungover, still dehydrated, still had a headache, still not feeling great, but at the same time able to function, not throwing up, that kind of thing. But so what are you guys up to tonight? Are you guys planning on drinking? Let us know down in the comments. Are you planning on not drinking? What's your plan if you're still drinking but you're not gonna drink tonight? What's your plan? The best thing we can do, and I made a video about this last week, is have a plan of action, have someone you can talk to. First off, if you need to just stay home and not participate, that, whatever. Like for me, New Year's was really never that big of a deal. I mean, I typically would drink. If I was at a party, I'd be drinking, or even if I just stayed in, I was going to be drinking. Either way, on New Year's Eve, alcohol was involved. Um, but I typically liked just to stay home. I never really liked going to parties. I mean, I would go, but like I didn't like to drink and drive. I really didn't feel like taking an Uber or a Lyft because for whatever reason, like I just would rather not do that. I think it made me feel like I I'm in control when I can drive, and if I only can have like one or two drinks, that's fine, and I'll drive home, and then that's really when my drinking would get started at home. Um, but so for me, like New Year's Eve, I would typically just stay in. I would say 90% of my life I would just stay in. And that's been the case since I've gotten sober. Like each year I just spend it at home with my daughter. The last 4 or 5 years of my sobriety, we just like we have like the party pack where we got the hats and the kazoos. We get white grape juice. We drink that. Tonight, Stranger Things is on. The finale of Stranger Things is on at 8 o'clock. So that's going to take us right into like 11 o'clock, and then probably stay up and watch the ball drop from there. But we'll have our own little countdown, so she doesn't have to stay up till midnight. We do that. We'll have our white grape juice. Maybe we'll make a little bit of a video for friends and family, and go from there. And then I'll wake up tomorrow, and I won't have a hangover. I'll feel good. I'll be ready to start my day. I don't have any big plans. Like this is the biggest thing that I'm doing work wise, and I don't even consider this work. Making these videos and being on these live streams, but I mean that's the closest thing to work that I've had in like 2 weeks, making videos and doing the live streams for YouTube and creating content and that kind of thing, and that's what I love to do. That's ultimately what I plan on doing for my career, expanding out and doing coaching and expanding out. YouTube is just the beginning of this, and ultimately my goal is to be there to support, be there for coaching and that kind of thing. But that's my passion. That's what I love to do, and I'm glad that you guys are here so far to talk about this stuff. So let us know down in the comments what you have going on tonight. What's your plans? I will be watching Michigan take on Texas at 3 o'clock Eastern time. Being in Michigan, so I'm not a huge Michigan fan. I mean, I like to watch Michigan State play, um, but I'm typically more into Lions football, football in general, but Tiger baseball and Piston basketball. Those are my big three, and then Michigan State football and basketball. Those are the things I'm into. So I'll be watching some of the bowl games. I'm looking forward to Indiana tomorrow, um, and looking forward to that game. Indiana's been on my radar a little bit, but yeah, I mean, these things are awesome. We got snow. We have snow out here, as you can see. We got snow in the background here. So I might take a hike. That's one of the things that I enjoy doing as alcohol-free person. Like finding things at the beginning of my sober journey that actually like make me feel good, are sustaining, uh, aside from drinking, because drinking is not really that sustainable. It really isn't. Like I used alcohol for as long as I could. I drank for 27 years. I got to the end of my rope when I was 42 years old, and that was that. I didn't want it anymore. And it didn't mean that it was easy to quit. I still, it's still a habit. It's still a daily ritual. It's still a daily and weekly ritual where I would, think about my binge session, get there, watch sports, or maybe watch a movie, or go to a pub, or have a friend over and have a bonfire, all these things. And it was still a ritual. So getting over that urge to just fall into drinking was the hardest part at the beginning of my recovery. Finding things to do. So, like I say, I'm going to probably go out and take a quick walk around this 1 mile loop here in the snow. And that'll give me a little bit of peace of mind that I actually did something this morning. I've already done, first of all, we lost power in the middle of the night. So I stayed up till 1:15 watching the Pistons Lakers game. And then at 4:15 I woke up. So that was 3 hours of sleep and the power was out. So I'm like, man, so I got on the outage map and saw that our power was out all over the town. I put in that we had a power outage, and just to let them know that it was out. And then got an estimated restoration time of 7:20. It came back at 7 o'clock, but I still didn't get back to sleep right away. I was up probably till, I don't know, 5:30. Got back to sleep. Power came back on at 6. Woke up again, made my coffee, and went back to bed. and then finally got up like 8 o'clock. I don't remember the last time I woke up at 8 o'clock, but man, that was definitely needed. And that was a blessing that I was able to do that. And then I exercised, I did my stretches, I posted on Facebook and YouTube, and then now I'm here. So, I'm not drinking. The best part of sobriety is being here, being present, not just for myself, but for you guys. And if you're watching this video now, I'm glad you're here. If you're watching it after it posts, either way, I'm glad that you're here. This is the fourth episode of Get Sober, Stay Sober. This is a journey of not just figuring out how to get sober, but how to stay sober. And that's what it takes. That's what it's going to take in 2026 for us to live our best way, live our best lives. It's alcohol free. That's the way it's going to happen. That's the way that it happened for me. I tried so many different ways to enhance my life while I was still drinking. And while some of that stuff did work, it did make me feel better for a short time, I always fell back into drinking. And ultimately, no matter what I did, the alcohol always won out. I was willing to give up everything for drinking. Alcohol was basically my number one. It wasn't basically my number one. It was my number one. And while I was in my drinking life, I never really was able to admit it that it was an addiction. I mean, I knew it in my heart, but I really just thought, this is a habit. At some point, it's going to run its course and I'm going to be done with it. Don't know when that will be. I don't know how that is going to unfold, but I was confident that at some point it would. And I prayed that that would happen before I was in trouble, either with the law or in trouble health wise, to the point where I was sick with something that was irreversible. Those were things that I feared every single day. And, when I hear people talk about their drinking and they don't get hangovers, they don't have anxiety, um, they don't have fear, and all these things, I can't help but think to myself that they're just lying to themselves. It's a flat out lie, and we're good at lying to ourselves when we're stuck in addiction. That's a fact. We can tell ourselves what we want to hear. We're good at that, and we don't want to hear anything else, and any other opinion, it doesn't even matter. And then when we try to convince ourselves, we fall back into drinking and we just kind of forget about that. I used to just push that off. There were times when I would get a week sober and I wasn't looking to give up alcohol necessarily, but I had a massive hangover, so I would give it up for a few days, and after a few days I still wasn't craving that because I still didn't want to feel bad again. But I didn't have any tools to really stay sober. And that's why I titled this Get Sober, Stay Sober, because getting sober is one thing, but staying that way is a whole different thing. Like I would get to that 1 week and I would forget, or I wouldn't forget about how bad I felt, but I would put it back, not as important as how good I felt when I was drinking, because um, fab is a serious thing, fading effect bias. When we start to forget just how bad alcohol made us feel, when we start to forget all the bad things that we do and say when we're intoxicated, all the feelings of hangovers, all the negative feelings, when we start to forget those things, and then we start to glorify alcohol and all the good things that it gives us, that's when we get in trouble. And when we can play those drinking sessions forward, when we start to romanticize alcohol, like some of us will tonight, you know, it's so widely accepted to drink alcohol, especially on New Year's Eve. It's when we turn 21, it's like a rite of passage to get a beer and have a beer with a friend or multiple beers. It's like, there's billboards everywhere, there's a liquor store in every corner. It's so easy to get. It's so much easier to just drink alcohol than to go to therapy. It's so much easier to just drink alcohol than to talk about our feelings. It's so much easier to use alcohol than to deal with life. And um, so getting into 2026 and really putting uh, those facts in the forefront of our mind, if we can tell ourselves the truth, then we can make a plan for tonight and just not drink. Whether you need to check in here on YouTube or you need to check in on my Facebook group, Sobriety in the Storm. It's a private group. You can click the link in all my videos below. My They're pinned in all my videos. You can join that group, and we're there. There's about 70 members now, and it's a good sized group. We're there 24/7. One of us is there 24/7 or more, multiple people, just to offer support, offer to lend an ear, whatever it is you need to get through that urge to drink. That's what we're there for, and that's what that's why I formed that group. So whatever your plans are, those are the things that stuck out in my mind this past week or so. This past 4 months, I wanted to touch base about this. Every year, starting September 1st, I do a Burr Months challenge. So it's September, October, November, December. It's different than like sober October or dry January, where you just do 30 days. This is 4 months. It starts in September and goes all the way to the end of the year. The purpose for this was because I was always triggered, not necessarily to drink, but anxiety wise, I was always stressed out during fall time with a return to school for myself as a kid, but then for a return to school for my daughters now as an adult with a family. And so that would lead right into Halloween, which is always triggering to drink. Halloween is a drinking occasion now. It used to be just, I mean, it always was just for kids and pass out candy and get candy. Somewhere along the line, I feel like it became like this mommy and like daddy drinking culture where, they just pass out Jello shots or, Oktoberfest beers at the end of the driveway, and it just becomes like a drunken fest. And then you get to like Thanksgiving, then you get to Christmas, and you've got family members, you got get-togethers. Maybe those family members are triggering for you. Maybe there's just drama that you're not used to, that you only see these folks like once or twice a year during the holidays. That's what it was like for me. So I was a big ball of stress going in from fall into the holidays, and I didn't realize that, or I didn't know how to cope with that and learn how to cope with that until I got sober. But even like in years 2 and 3 and 4, I still noticed of being alcohol free. I still noticed that I was stressed out during these times, and somebody posted about Burr months, and I never recognized really that the last 4 months of the year ended in Burr. And then I thought, well, how can I make this into like for sobriety? And so I thought, I I got over my last big urge to drink around day 72 or 73 of being alcohol free. It was the biggest urge I had to drink, and with the help of my sobriety group and a couple comments, and one in particular, and talking to my wife while I was going through this urge to drink, uh, I was able to get through that. And it was, like I said, so day 72 or 73, by the time I got to 90 days, I was like, you know what? I feel better. I'm not having those urges anymore. Yeah, I still think about alcohol. Yeah, I still can romanticize a drinking session. I still have to play it forward and recognize that it's not going to do me any good to drink. It's just going to lead me back down a road I don't want to go back down. I ran to the end of the road on that. So 90 days, I was like solidified. So I thought, once we get to like 4 months, that is really when we turn the corner. And that's 4 months, 121 days in the fall. And it doesn't mean we have to not drink. I want to point that out. It's not, we don't have to just not drink. Uh, Good morning, Rel. And, yep, keep going. Everybody keep going. Danny Boy, we've discussed that on some previous live streams and videos. I made a couple videos and I've done a couple, uh, not specific about weed, but if that's your thing, more power to you. I don't condone turning to weed if you don't use it and you're drinking and you are trying to not drink. Because if we're turning to weed or something else, we're just replacing that possible addiction with another addiction. So that's my take on it. I mean, I was a weed smoker periodically in my life. I get the weed thing. I definitely think that weed is not as dangerous as alcohol. That doesn't mean that it's not dangerous, but I definitely I wouldn't condone it. Partly for me, like I just had adverse effects with weed, so yeah, I was high, but I didn't like I still had heart palpitations, paranoia, and yeah, maybe it was the brand, maybe it was the strain, maybe it was the whatever, but it was with everything every time. So it ran its course for me at that, but I did consider that for 3 years into my recovery. I really honestly did. And so I ultimately got through those urges. I knew that I just was seeking an escape. That was the first and foremost thing, was acknowledging the fact that I needed an escape. And that can be in any form. Uh, my particular epiphany for that was I was planning on a vacation around 3 years alcohol free. And I hadn't been on one really for 3 years into my sobriety. I was craving one, like maybe just for like a couple days, even if it was by myself. Like I just needed to get away from the responsibilities and have some time to myself. And I think we all need that. But I was thinking about where I could go, how I would get there, how much time I would take and all this, who I would take. And after batting these ideas around for weeks and weeks, I was on a hike by myself at this place, actually, a short hike, 1 mile hike. And I thought about this vacation and what the implications of that would be if I did this. And I played it forward in my mind. The vacation was relaxing. It was everything I needed it to be and wanted it to be. But then I got home and I was back to those responsibilities, back to reality, and back to what I was trying to get away from in the first place. And that was when I really realized that I had been really just seeking an escape all this time. And I think that that's why we use, not all of us, but I think that's why a lot of us use alcohol or weed or whatever, is to just escape this reality. We're not totally invested or totally appreciative or totally grateful or totally accepting of what we have in our life. And maybe we don't have a lot. You know what I mean? Maybe we have a couple things that we feel that we are grateful for that we wouldn't want to lose. Um, but either way, even if we have a couple of things, that's more than some. You know what I mean? And we have to be able to accept those things, take them as blessings and not curses. And that's what I did in that moment. I mean, I'm pretty sure I shed a couple tears at that point. Um,
having that breakthrough, and it came to me on my own. It wasn't at therapy. It wasn't talking to somebody. It was on my own, and that was remarkable. And from that point forward, everything that was happening, good and bad, in my life, I was taking it as a blessing. I wasn't lashing out in anger because I didn't want to deal with it anymore. I wasn't just pissed anymore. And that was a huge thing, because that was the reason why I quit drinking in the first place. And that happened 3 years after I got alcohol free. And I wouldn't have got to that point had I not gone through every other thing that I went through to get to that point. Had I fallen back into drinking again, I would never have experienced that. And that was profound. It left a profound impact on me. I've always kind of looked at life as something that was profound, um, but I never felt like I was experiencing it fully until I quit drinking alcohol. And then all these things open up, and we think that doors are going to shut when we quit drinking, that we don't have that vice anymore, that we don't have that crutch anymore, that we don't have that friend that we've used all these years, alcohol. We feel like, and we worry that it's going to be the end of fun. It's going to be, it's going to shut down all the opportunities that we've had in our life, and there's just not going to be, it's not going to be worth living anymore. And there couldn't be anything further from the truth. That's a lie we tell ourselves, and it's something that I recognized in that moment, and it changed things. Um, so here, let me go through a couple of the yep, the paranoia, yeah, for sure, Danny boy. Um, yep, Reller, alcohol can ruin your life for sure. Weed can pause your life. You just go through the motions. I experienced that in my teenage years for sure. Um, it numbs you out, you know. You kind of lose feeling for things like life. Um, Honestly, I feel like I lost myself during those years that I was using weed. But I mean, I was losing myself with the years that I was drinking alcohol too. I just didn't recognize it. It was in a different way. But yeah, it does make you kind of lazy. It kind of makes you lose your care. And that's kind of what I experienced. Crash out. This is so cool. I can't believe I'm talking with Russell Crowe. Hell yeah. Nice. I like that. Um, and I like Russell Crowe, so that's cool. That's a compliment. I take that as a compliment. Um, Maybe the cheeks are a little rosier, but hey, I'm working on that. Um, and let's see, goals for 2026, Haroon. Um, every year since I quit drinking, I've had New Year's resolutions. I don't really know them until I'm in the new year. Uh, Last year and the year before. So the year before last, my goal was to read the entire Bible. I did that with the YouVersion Bible app. When 2025 started and I was done with the Bible, I started making a plan before I was done. So a couple weeks, maybe a month before the new year, I started planning on reading a book a month. It was going to be my goal. Just regular pleasure reading, novels, quick reads, 300-400 pages. I did that this year. I've exceeded the 12 books. I think I've probably read like 15 or 16 books. This year, I haven't had any huge things come to mind yet, but I think as in like the first 3 or 4 years went into the new year, uh, I had things that I was thinking about doing that I didn't recognize until like I was into the new year. So I think that that's how this is going to unfold this time. Um, Obviously, growing this channel and my Facebook group are priority for me, but I mean those happen organically. So I don't feel like it's work. I don't feel like I have to like really you know hone in on that. I think it happens. It comes um, in time. and it grows organically. And I do spend as much time as I can making the videos, content, live streams, posts on the communities. But I'm going to continue on with the reading because I found an author that I liked, and I'm halfway through all the books she's read. Um, I'm really liking her books, so I'm going to continue on with that. And I still read scripture, not daily. It should be daily, or I kind of want it to be daily, but at the same time, it's fine. I missed it, so about 3 or 4 weeks into the new year last year, I started picking scripture back up again, but not reading it like I was when I read the whole Bible. But I picked up the New Testament and I started reading that and a Bible plan for that. So it's taken me longer than I had planned, but that's fine. It's still in my resolutions every year. Um, but yeah, the first couple of years, one was enlightenment. I felt like I was learning about myself. Another one was balance. 2022 or 2023 was balance, like it was uh, feeling like I was on stable ground. Because when we're in addiction, uh, and we might think we like this, but when we're in addiction and we're drinking every day or most days, our life is out of balance. Uh, it's up and down. There's really highs and really lows, and we think that's normal, and it's like a roller coaster. And I thought I liked it. I think a lot of us think that we like that, but I think a lot of that has to do with it's security. We know, we expect that, so we think that that's how life's supposed to go, and then we live that way, and we know what to expect. So when we quit drinking, we don't know what to expect, and it's scary as hell. Um, and so balance was a huge thing, just being on an even keel. I didn't have that right away. It took a couple years. But then in years 2.5 to 3 years, I found a church and a pastor that I resonated with. I started to grow in my faith, and that's kind of where the Bible part came in like year 4. And and so yeah, these things happen organically. So I can't tell you that I have something right now planned yet, but I do know that going into 2026 alcohol free, it gives us the opportunity to be able to find those things, to learn about those things, and to gain on that, and use that all year as another tool to stay alcohol free. So thank you, Haroon, for the comment and the question. Um, Reller says you're spot on with being an escape. That's why so many people work hard all week, then drink hard on the weekends. Absolutely. And then we give ourselves a free pass if we're not working. Um, I haven't worked a regular 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job since 2016. My jobs have been part time and all over the my schedule's all over the map. And that's just because that's what works for our family. But yeah, when I wasn't working, I was drinking. And if I knew that I had to work, I would not drink as much. But if I wasn't working, I was drinking all day, all night. Maybe the next day too. So, and we reward ourselves. Just because I'm not at work doesn't mean I don't have work to do. A lot of chores at home. Um, got a busy life, so there's always stuff to do, and I would always get that stuff done. And then the first thing I'd do is crack a beer open, or maybe I was winding those chores down, and then I'd crack that beer, an hour before I was done. But at any rate, once I started drinking, that was it, and that was all I would do, and I would drink it because it was a reward. I would drink it because it was free time. I would drink it because I'm an adult and I'm allowed to. And so that those were all my reasons, excuses, whatever you want to call it. Um, Gabe, welcome in. Definitely, I literally just went through this. Um, and good morning, Dr. Fish. Good morning, Brett. Good to see you. So yeah, that's what we got today. I don't know what your plans are for New Year's, but let me know either in the comments on this live stream after it's posted, or in FOMO video from today. Um, but yeah, I'll be back on a live stream possibly on Friday. If I don't see you on YouTube or on Facebook, I hope you have a happy New Year, a sober New Year. If you need help, check in here, check in on Facebook, and we'll be here. So we'll check back in on Friday. Definitely on Sunday, I'll have a new video out, and we'll see you on the next one. Have a great day, everybody, and a happy New Year.